If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello. Monday. It is Monday. Oh, my Yoda. It's the No Rest for the Vivid podcast with me, Claire Hill, your host, and I am here today to talk to you and tell you a story about the time of my pay rise at my old job. And now the reason why I'm telling you this story is not to be negative, but there was a lesson learned. So I'm going to take you back to 2016, and was it 2000? Yes, it was 2016. And I was promoted into leadership at my school, and I became an assistant head teacher. So I was currently like a year head. That was my position. And there was a job going as promotion, and I was very successful. And I met with the head teacher and the deputy head teacher. Very amazing people, by the way. So this is no mark on how amazing those two individuals are, because they really are very inspiring people, and a lot of respect to them. But we met and they said, right, Claire, we're going to give you this pay rise. You're going on to the leadership scale. So when you're a teacher in the UK, you are put on the main scale of teaching, and every year, as long as you hit your targets in your appraisal and results, etc., you go up a scale. Then you're at a threshold, then you can go into upper main pay scale. Upper main, I'm a bit rusty because I haven't been in education for a few years, but then you go into that. You have to submit some evidence, and then every 2 years you go up a scale. If you get a promotion to the leadership team, you go into the leadership scale, and that goes from L1 up to, I think it's like L30 maybe. I'm sure some teachers are listening and you're going to know this. But anyway, but that there's a jump from the main scale to the leadership scale. And I was on main scale, so I hadn't been a teacher for very long. But I had TLR. I don't even know what TLR stands for, but it's just like an extra bonus that you get for more responsibility. So I had a TLR on there. I had two on there actually, because I did different responsibilities, and I was main pay scale teacher. And currently at that time, I think my wage was about 30,000. I went into getting this leadership role, and they said, you're on L1 of the leadership scale, and we're going to bunch all of your pay together, because when you become an assistant head, we lump it all together, and you just go onto this leadership scale. You're still going to get a pay rise. You're going to get a pay rise. I think it was going to be about 4,000. So I was going to ended up being at that point on about £38,000. And I was like, oh, brilliant. This is amazing. As long as I am earning above my age, I'm doing all right. That was the mentality I had, which is absolute bullshit, by the way. But I was, so at the time, so I was 32. So I was like, oh, amazing. Anyway, go fast forward. And I must say that at that time, that salary increase was so impactful to me. It made me feel like I'd made it, right? I felt so grateful for where I was. I had no clue where I actually was. Okay. So we're leading up to the lesson now. So I went to in that time, then I got engaged, and I got engaged. We moved house, got married, and I got pregnant. So we're fast forwarding now to March 2018. And so I'd been an assistant head teacher for almost 2 years by this point. And we had a new executive head come in, and he wanted to restructure the leadership team so that there was more transparency in salaries, and that everybody had an equal workload. At the time, I was overseeing attendance, some safeguarding, mental health, was a maths teacher. I think I was still teaching health and social care. I was mentoring a student teacher. And I taught about 60%, maybe even more than that. Oh, and I was also overseeing a subject. I was like a subject leader's boss. I did healthy schools, which was in attendance as well. And I oversaw free school meals. Yeah, so not much. But I was pregnant. Anyway, so this executive head teacher came in and he said, we're gonna have a restructure and we're going to advertise for different roles. You don't have to apply for those roles if you've already got them. Now, at the time, I was in the community and I wanted to move over to just leadership. I was part of that's the other thing that I was doing. Mike's just nearly fallen over. I was part of the pastoral team, so I was like a year head still with a bit of extra responsibility. It wasn't just academic, it was pastoral as well, so that's all emotional well-being. Anyway, so I had a lot on my plate. So they advertised for these different roles, and I saw that my boss, again, all respect to him, this was another fella, but I basically carried him, which may sound a little bit harsh, but I think he'd agree with me. I think he would. And I saw that he was getting paid £12,000 more than me. And in my pregnant state, now being a fierce tiger, lioness, whatever, I walked into this new executive head's office and said, I do understand that my boss should get paid a little bit more than me, but I didn't know whether you were aware that how much extra I do. You definitely shouldn't be getting paid 12 grand more than me. He said, no, he shouldn't be. You should be on 8 grand more than you are. When they hired you as an assistant head teacher, they put you down. You're the lowest paid assistant head teacher in the school. Now, in that moment, as you can appreciate, I was really pissed off. And it meant that over the 2 years, I could have been earning an extra, before tax and everything, an extra like £16,000, which is obviously quite a lot of money. In education, that's a lot of money. And I know some people might be listening to this, if you're running your own business or not in education, like in the corporate world, that's how, like, teachers do not get paid that much money for what they do. They really don't. So when they strike, good on them. They need a pay rise. Bringing up the young of our country to turn them into good people and helping them in their school is a stressful and difficult and challenging but very rewarding job. But they still need money for it, by the way. So I was pretty pissed off about it. The lesson here, though, and that's why I've just told you this story. They, by the way, put my money up before I went on maternity leave because I kicked such a fuss. I didn't like backfill it or anything, but I did get a pay rise. So what I should have been on, instead of the 38, was like 48. No, I think I was on 40. I should have been on 48. Anyway, regardless, the lesson here is that you need to know your value before everyone else. You cannot expect, and this is with your pricing, if you're in a business, if you're in work, your salary, you have to understand and fully embody your value before you can expect anybody else to do that. And actually, no one else will. You're the only person that can understand your value. You cannot rely on trusting people of authority or people that are above you or people that you are inspired by and respect to see that value in you if you're turning up with a bag of enthusiasm. When I got that job, I should have been paid extra because of my enthusiasm. My enthusiasm was so contagious that I carried a lot of other senior members of staff through with me, as well as main scale teaching stuff. And I drove a lot of change and I should have been paid enough, but I wasn't. More for them, I left, didn't I? So, but I now understand my value. I understand my impact. I understand that I can change people's lives. I understand that I inspire people, that I enthuse people, that I make people feel like they can do anything. I make people feel empowered. And I understand that value, and the value that I give to people through my teaching and support then helps them to go on and spread joy and enthuse other people as well. So before you think or expect other people to appreciate and understand your value, you must understand it first. There, I went over a little bit from a mini Monday, didn't I, this week? Worth it though, I think. No, it is. There's a little bit of imposter syndrome just linked in there. Anyway, have an amazing Monday. Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother, Phil Vidler.